All right. So I got that one in. I got those in. I got it screwed down. Uh, oh, look at that.
You got light.
I do have light.
Is anything posting?
Oh, actually the rest of the lights came on.
Ah.
I gotta see.
Okay.
Oh, I just heard the beep. Oh, there it goes. It posted.
All right. All right. I was going to save this for the episode, but hold on one second. I'm recording right now.
Oh, nice.
Check out the screen.
Dude. What?
I got one too, baby. And I'm actually using mine right now. I've been working on it since I've been working on getting it
when
to
did you
work
order
since
it?
yesterday. At the same time, the same time you said you ordered yours, I had just placed the order for mine.
That's amazing.
I hit record. I hit it.
Right.
It's blue. I swear to you, I hit it last time. I know I did.
I swear you did too, because
I pointed it out. I said, "Oh, I'm already," because we were having a conversation.
Yeah.
And then I said, "Oh, I'm already recording, but I'll cut all this out." And then And then the only thing I can think of is maybe at that moment I hit stop, and because I was planning to start again. Or I'm just going to blame it on Windows. We're on Windows. I'm recording on Windows this week because of our ARC A770 drama, so I'm just going to blame it on that. But there's no way around it. This is our second attempt at recording the first half of this show. So, hello and welcome to Crowbar Kernel Panic. This is episode 37 for the second time, and we are going to be going over some Linux news. Now a little bit late because it's the same show notes from the first time we tried to record this, where last time I realized halfway through that I was not recording, and so we actually finished out the show. So in watching this episode back, you will see my hair magically grow out because I got a haircut between now and then, and both of our clothes changes. Otherwise, we're just as handsome as ever, so you won't even notice. You
now
may
I'm gonna
not
watch
notice.
the video and I'm gonna go right to that point and I'm gonna just watch it transition.
Yeah. So we went ahead and recorded the last half of the show last week, and now we're trying to go back and record the first half of the show this week. So, well, we've lived a whole separate life between the last half of the show and the first half of the show. How have you been this week? Has anything interesting happened?
Well, I'm back to work. I've been working this whole week, so that's good. I'm glad about that.
Yeah, me too. It's been a really, really crazy week. I think like every night we've tried to get together and record this, but
it's been crazy.
I'm like I'm working two jobs right now trying to transition. So like,
You're and my wife and I are doing this fast thing, and it's been just brutal.
That's right. Yeah.
And like we had to adjust it because we went like too far into it. We went like too vegan, I guess you could say, and we weren't like ready for it. So we had to adjust it a little bit. So we added like chicken and fish in there.
Yeah.
Just,
me being vegetarian, I used to always make the joke that like I'm the worst person to hang out with at parties because I am vegetarian, straight edge, and I use Linux instead of Windows. So like I just 100% just try to make my life harder, and I love telling people about all three of those things. And I drive an electric vehicle. God, I'm so annoying,
man.
I'm like, no one wants to hang out with me. So we have some news items to discuss this week, and then we're going to get into our experience with the A770. Both of us got one, as you can tell from the intro of the show, and both of us are still struggling with them.
Yeah.
So we'll have
even now a week later.
Yeah. We're a week after the previous recording, and we're still struggling. Although I gotta admit, I haven't done any more testing since the last.
Yeah, I've just been updating Fedora Rawhide just to see. I'm like waiting for my monitor just to start working, and nope, nothing yet. So.
Yeah. So tomorrow I have I have the house to myself tomorrow because my
Mm,
wife and my son are going to some like breakfast pancake reading thing at the library. I have no idea.
nice.
And while they're
I
doing
always liked
that,
those as a kid.
yeah, oh, is that a thing? Is pancakes and reading? Is that like been
Well,
a
not
thing forever?
pancakes, but like the reading thing and just kind of like
Oh yeah,
snacks and stuff.
yeah.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
So while they're doing that, I might try another Arch installation and see if I have better luck this time. So we'll see how that goes.
Yeah.
So the first item, let me see. Oh yeah, this is a good one. This is a good one. Um, have you ever been interested in fungus computers, Josh? Has this ever been you ever thought about this? Ever been on your radar?
So, no, but funny side story is
Okay.
I was listening to, like, I watch a lot of YouTube shorts with Joe Rogan. He interviews,
Yeah.
all sorts of people and whatnot. And
Oh
he was
yeah.
interviewing
He interviewed a
yeah,
fungus guy one time.
yes. And the guy, they actually put the fungus made a better working subway system for Tokyo,
Oh wow.
because they designed this thing, and they put food in the center where they wanted it, or wherever they wanted it, and the fungus actually spread out, and over time designed a better working subway system than what Tokyo has now.
Yeah, that's hilarious. Yeah, I remember that. You know what's funny is like I saw clips of that interview, but I didn't watch it. And I think he's been on a few times, but like
Yeah.
whenever I read this article, I said, "Oh, I wonder if the fungus guy knows anything about anything
I'm
about
sure he
the
does. He's
yeah,
he's probably like at the forefront. He's like, "Oh yeah, this is
the
awesome."
forefront of fungus computing." So scientists had developed a living PC made from mushrooms. So this is the University of West of England, or UWE Bristol. They have this is basically a proof of concept at this point, but they have discovered a method of passing electronic signals through fungus, and it actually is like faster than other methods. So and it has like a learning function. So whenever they pass some electrical current through it, and then they do it again, it's easier the second time. And so
Right.
the more pass that it uses over
Yep.
and over again, it will like
Right.
remember those. Like it has a memory to it, so it's faster.
Right, and that's kind of what happened with the fungus that they used to redesign the subway system. Is every time it got a little better and it made itself more efficient.
Yeah, yeah,
It's
yeah. So
crazy.
they've done a proof of concept where they're saying that they could use this to you're signaling zeros and ones, so like whether there is a pulse or there's not, and
Right.
this could be used in computers in the future. So who knows? It could be
Your next quantum computer is a
yeah,
mushroom.
yeah, exactly. The next you could grow your next quantum computer on a sock under your bed. Raspberry Pi,
That's
more like moldy sock.
holy sock.
No, I think this reminds me of the Star Trek Voyager. The way they had you've never watched Star Trek Voyager.
I gotta watch that series. I do.
Well, one of the aspects of the show that like came up in the beginning, and you thought it was going to be a bigger thing, but it basically never comes up again. But they have like a biomolecular like little packets that they in the show. The science fiction of it all was that like it was supposed to be like faster than actual wiring, and that it would be like more capable. I mean, it sounds exactly like this like fungus thing. So like
Right.
yet again, Star Trek was right. Given enough time, it will just have turned out to all be right.
Yep.
In far less exciting news, Amazon Basics CPU cooler is its first foray into PC components. A CPU cooler that has a suspiciously similar model number to a Cooler Master CPU cooler. So the Amazon one is RRH410 20PC-AS, and the original model number on the Cooler Master is RRH410 20PC-R1. So only 2 digits different than the original model number.
How can they even do, like, is that, I mean, obviously it either must be legal or they're getting away with something.
No, I'm sure that I'm sure that both CPU, I'm sure they're made at the exact same place. It's just for Cooler Master, they slap their logo on it, and for the Amazon
I see what
Basics,
you're
they
saying.
slap their logo on it. Yeah.
I see what you're saying. Okay.
And you know, every brand does that. Well, I can't say every brand. A lot of brands do that to some extent, where you know they'll have this is why whenever you buy a $200 laptop of any brand, it's nowhere as good as the $800 model by the same brand. Like it's just, you know, I think at the lower tiers they're just allowing some company to make this and they're putting their logo on it. Whereas the more expensive products, that's the things that they're actually researching, that they're trying to put their brand into. So basically, Amazon is probably just using the same, whatever.
The same manufacturer. Yep.
Right. Yeah.
Yep. Yeah, they've done this with a lot of stuff. They take, they're like, oh, that's selling good. We might as well get in on that. And then they just crush the people.
Yeah.
Like Cooler Master, they're not going to easily crush, but like some of these companies, they've crushed because they've just made the Amazon Basics version of the product and no one sees the other one anymore. It's just all you see is the Amazon Basic unless you really look.
Right. So it looks like, let's see, in this article they list some pricing, and this is a few days old now, so
yeah, it's dirt cheap compared to the regular one.
Yeah, I was trying to find that. So $39.99. Oh no, that's this. That is Tom's Hardware's favorite budget. So that's the Zalman CMPS 10X Performa. Yeah. Let's see, how much is the Amazon one? Oh,
it's 27. It's at the top.
Where do you see that?
The Amazon one at the very top of the article. It says this $27 CPU tower cooler.
Oh yeah, you're right. $27.
Yep. And the original is 66?
66, yeah.
68 on Amazon.
Yeah, that's another
That's crazy.
Thing. They're probably selling that at a loss. Yeah, they're probably selling that at a loss to try to get people to buy theirs versus the Cooler Master one.
Right, and then they'll slowly eke in on it with other models because it's such a good value, blah blah blah. And so plus their margins are so much better because they own Amazon, so they don't have to pay to put it on their, website.
Yeah, and I think things like this, they don't care. They'll sell this at a loss just because you're using their website. Like,
right. They'll harvest your data, for the cost, for the difference.
That and you're probably going to throw a couple other things in your cart. They're going to profit from.
Yep, that's another thing. Yep.
So
it's all about getting them in the store.
So what other products do you think they could do this with? So like, Amazon's not about to make a graphics card, I don't think. They're not going to make anything that they actually have to put some research into. It's going to be things like, I bet they could make SSDs.
Yeah, I could see that.
They could probably find some factory somewhere that's already making SSDs that'll let them put their brand on it. I just cleaned my glasses and they're worse. Things, SSDs, fan speed controllers, that'll be one.
Yep.
I could see that.
Yep. Maybe like little audio DACs.
Yeah.
Not like the big ones, but maybe some of the smaller ones. They probably already have a lot of this stuff. I know they have a ton of cables. Like cables are like their thing.
Yeah, that's true. This article says it's their first PC component. Yeah, there's probably already is a few things that people might use tangentially with their PCs. But the
hey, I forgot about this. But actually, Amazon Basics. My first
yeah, they do. They have
microphone.
That is like a copy of like an Audio Technica microphone, I believe.
Yep, it is. Yep.
All right, well, so everybody look forward to the bright and shiny future where you can get Amazon Basic products for your PC, and
only Amazon Basic.
And they'll probably be garbage.
Yep.
But anyway. So, in some more Linux-related news, FlatHub has announced that they are working on a project with the Gnome Foundation, the KDE, and I'm sure a few other people to introduce subscriptions, purchases, and donations directly into FlatHub itself. So you'll be able to contribute to the great developers that maintain your favorite FlatHub project in the near future. This article on their GitHub, they kind of describe the background, why they went into this, and what their plans are going forward. They also make a call out for donations, especially in the beginning. There is no sort of infrastructure for this yet. This is going to be brand new and maintained by a small group of people, so they're asking for donations to try to get that off the ground, which is understandable. And you should donate to the project anyway, because we all use it.
Yeah, it's really good. FlatHub is, that's one of the places that I feel like I would definitely donate to, because I've used the crap out of FlatHub ever since they made it.
Yeah, and this works into relation to another article that we hesitated to put in the show notes because it's a little bit of an older article now, but it's so closely connected to that one. But that is that Ubuntu flavors agree to stop using Flatpak altogether, which this kind of makes sense because Ubuntu is like really pushing Snap.
Right.
And this is only Ubuntu flavors, so it's not, Linux Mint still going to be using Flatpaks.
Yep.
This is not like Ubuntu based distributions, but Ubuntu flavors. So Kubuntu,
official flavors.
Ubuntu. I don't even know all the flavors, but so if you use one of those, you can still install Flatpaks. You can still install what you need to do that, but by default, they're going to be trying to get you to use Snap, and they say it's to. They want it to be more conducive to like a streamlined process for their software package, which I think basically is because they're tailored so much around snaps.
Right. Because they're getting rid of the a lot of the apt packages. Well, I shouldn't say a lot, but at least I know of Firefox they got rid of, and now they just have the snap. They're not building the app package anymore.
Wow, I didn't know that.
Yep, it's only as a snap now, on Ubuntu at least.
Holy cow, so they really are going all in.
I think they are. I think in the end, and when this thing's all said and done, it's going to be all snaps from the top to the bottom. I mean, as far as they can go without, because obviously you're going to need some debs here and there. But I think it's going to be mostly snaps in the end. But also I learned this week, I was listening to another podcast, and they mentioned that it was kind of like, it says they agreed, but it really wasn't like an agreement. It was kind of like they were told, and I don't know how true that is exactly, but I kind of feel like that probably was it, because there's a lot of the flavors that like Flatpak because it adds another layer of usability to the system.
Yeah, I could see that. Yeah. Like I've definitely used both on whenever I used to use Mint. There was times where I would have a little bit of both, but I could see that whether or not Ubuntu quote unquote pressured anybody into it, or just strongly suggested and they all agreed, I can imagine that if you were the last flavor holding out, and everybody else is all for it, I can imagine, whether it's implied or not, there would be a lot of pressure to just go along with it. You know what I mean?
Yeah, right, exactly. Yeah, I don't know how much pressure or anything like that, or even if they really did that, but I believe they would, because this is like, they really want snaps to work. I think when they first started snaps, they thought it was gonna like take off and be this amazing thing, but it was such a bumpy ride that it just.
Somebody needs to do a rendition of 12 Angry Men, but
yes, that's amazing. I would love that. Yeah, with just the heads. The heads are all the flavors.
It's Zubuntu was like the last one holding out. Like, guys, I really believe that there's a case for FlatHub here. Oh man.
But yeah. I mean, I've used them all too. I've used Flatpaks. I've used snaps. I've used some. Actually, I don't like app images as much as the other two.
I don't either. I would rather use a snap than an app image. Yeah.
I don't understand. Like, I get it. You just double click on it after you hit an executable, but a lot of times I've had theming issues with those, And if I don't have theming issues, I'm like, well, I
Isn't-
gotta put it somewhere.
It
and
really
and
feels like, in theory, it should be the easiest, but it's the one that I've personally had the most difficulty with.
Yeah, right,
And
exactly.
I
It
don't,
feels like
and
it
I have
should be
no
like
idea.
Mac OS.
Yeah, you feel like an idiot when it doesn't work, but
Right. But like when I can just do Flatpak, or Flatpak install whatever,
yeah.
and it's there and it's in my app folder,
Mm-hmm.
And I just click on it, that's
I feel like you have more recourse to like correct things in a
Yeah.
Flatpak or a Snap versus like when an app image doesn't work for me. I'm just like, I guess I'll try
Right, yeah,
something else.
because I don't even know how to change the settings for it. Like, like Flatpaks, you have Flat Seal. You can change the settings.
Yeah.
And now with Snaps, you can do it in the Ubuntu App Store. They have a little thing now that you can change that. But for app images, I don't know where you would do that. Maybe there's another application for it. I don't know, but
It's an app image. It's an app image.
it's an app image to manage your app images.
To manage all app images. So I think the way we have to approach this next article is by saying that we are not smart enough to understand it, but we're excited about its potential. And this this is a merge request on the Wine GitLab by a Alexandros Francis, and this is the first merge request, hopefully of many more, to introduce a Wayland driver support for Wine. And he posts a small blurb and some details about the merge. Again, we don't understand all of these details. He has some questions here. The main thing is that it looks like the beginnings of a support directly in Wayland for Wine is in the process. And speculatively, I really think that someone like Valve has a really vested interest to see something like this grow and succeed. And so I think that this is potentially a really good thing for our future. I think we'll be talking about this more on the show as it develops more, and it gets to a point where even laymen's like us can understand what they're talking about when we read through it. But I'm really excited for the potential and for the future of Wayland Wine Support. All right. I think that is our job for the night done. The rest of the show will be past us talking about our ARC A770 drama and how we are going to work really hard in the coming week that we know we didn't really work that hard trying to get it to work. I'm hesitating because I don't know whether to reveal to you yet that I just hit record, that I was not recording the news segment.
Wait, what?
Yeah, I didn't know. I didn't know I wasn't recording. I hit record earlier, but I guess it wasn't recording, or I didn't. I thought I did. Like the button is lit up now. It was not lit up before, so whatever I did before did not register. Either it started and failed. So I need to watch it and make sure it's, because maybe it started and failed. So I need to watch it this whole way through. This is the first time we've done the show on Windows proper in a while. So
yeah.
So
yeah.
I'll go back and record the news later or something, or none of that stuff was like super topical, so I don't think we're really missing out on much.
Yeah. This is what people came here to see.
The bread and butter.
Never.
Yeah, the bread and butter of this episode is the ARC A770. So we both got one, and before we get into too much, I want to tell you that, like, if you think back to those days where like you had ordered yours and you were waiting on it, and I kept asking you questions about it, but I never said that I had one. I was and then you jumped on Discord and you were talking about the trouble you were having, and you didn't know that at the same time I was also going through the same trouble. Like I had been. So the day that you told me on Discord that you ordered the card, I had also ordered that same day. So we probably received ours.
Wow.
Yeah. We probably received ours at the same time. I was actually in a meeting at work.
It was fast.
Yeah, I got here really quick. I was actually in a meeting at work, and I had
Sorry guys, I
Newegg.
gotta leave.
I had Newegg up on one screen, and I had the conversation for work going on the other screen, and like it was just like I just kept going through the process of like, well, let's see what the price is on the A770.
Yep.
I wonder what it would look like if I put it in my cart. Wouldn't that be funny if I just put it in my cart? I got all the way through the process before I knew it. I had purchased this thing, and it's on its way. It's on its way here. And then, like 30 minutes later, you messaged me saying that you had also ordered one. So,
oh man, that's hilarious.
I was like, I'm gonna keep it a secret. And then when we do the next episode, I'm gonna say, I got one too. But
yeah, I was just like, after last episode, I was just like, I have to. I don't have a choice. It's like it's got to happen, and I'm like, usually I'm usually one to never buy the first of anything. Like that is like my motto.
This is a really risky purchase on our part.
Yeah, and I don't know what it was, but I felt the need to do this because like I wanted to be the beta tester, which is so weird for me.
Yeah. Well, we had been talking like the last couple episodes. We've been talking about how like the graphics card industry is just going in a direction that I don't like as a consumer, and you know, there's no competition. They basically can do whatever they want because like Joe's GPU shack can't start tomorrow and compete with them. It has to be someone like Intel, you know.
Yes,
and so I really see this as an opportunity to make all the competition better, and I really think that I think they have a legitimate chance at being the third provider of graphics cards. Like, so anyway, the plan was I was going to install the graphics card, install Linux, and go through the whole process of getting it to work, and then on the next episode give the big reveal that I also have one. I was going to hold up the box and be like, I got one too, and
yeah, my box is right there.
Yeah, mine's probably in the closet. I am a box keeper. I do have.
I usually am, especially this box. It's a pretty nice box, but
yeah, it is. I went all out. It would be a 200 graphics card if they hadn't went so far on the
right.
The box. So, but I didn't get to do that big reveal because I never got mine to work properly on Linux. I never got it to work. I did. I was able to boot. I was able to test a few games, but whenever I go into the details of my experience, I never truly got it to work well enough for me to trust it and to stay. I'm on Windows right now, and my experience
me too,
on Windows,
by the way.
My experience on Windows is perfectly fine.
Yep.
I've not really done any like significant stress testing or anything, but I just installed it and everything seems to work fine.
And we also came to the conclusion that we need to install it on Windows to make sure the actual hardware worked first.
Yeah.
That was the key because obviously Linux was being flaky. So we were like, well, we got to make sure this thing works in the first place because if it doesn't, then we're like, oh, there goes our, weak window or whatever to replace it.
So
whatever it may be.
So that's why I finally revealed to you, and I did get video, and hopefully I can put it at the beginning of this, but that's when I finally revealed to you that I also had one because it seemed like you and I both were having similar problems at the very beginning where I couldn't get my machine to post. I mean, it seemed like...
Right, me too.
It was like I would restart my computer like 5 times to try to get into the BIOS once. You know what I mean? Like it was like I was having strange I
was having the same problem.
And my keyboard and mouse and stuff would quit working. It was like it was almost like my motherboard was like detecting it as like a USB hub or something because it would like break all my other USB devices. Like it was so bizarre. It was so bizarre.
Yeah, I had some weird crap right in the beginning. It was only in the beginning. And then once so basically what I did is I unplugged my computer, turned off my power supply and let it unplug for 24 hours. And once I booted it back up, fine, no problems. It was like brand new. I was like, oh, okay, that was interesting.
What I did was I went to my BIOS and I disabled. So I could get it to go to my BIOS, but it was like I had to keep trying. So I went to my BIOS. I disabled onboard graphics, and
okay, that's right, because you have the onboard.
Yeah.
So see, I don't.
I disabled that. I made sure that all the settings. So Intel has like a list of motherboard settings that they recommend. Now it shouldn't be for compatibility. It should be so that you can get the most out of your card.
Right.
Resizable bar is the big thing, but there's like 3 settings that you need to set.
Yeah, that 4G something or
Yeah.
something like that. I forget what that is, but that was supposed to be enabled.
I'll make sure that's in the show description. But there's a really good video that describes it for basically every motherboard manufacturer. I'll link to that in the show notes.
Yeah.
And I'm gonna just make a note to make sure I do that. But so once I turned that off and I set those settings, it seemed like every time I started my computer, I could get one monitor to work. Now, it would post, it would do everything before loading Linux, but whenever I would try to load Linux, even just booting from a USB stick to install Linux, no matter the distro, every distro did this. My monitor would start flashing on and off. Like on and off rapidly. And
I remember you saying about that. Yeah,
I got a video of it. I sent it to you. I'll see if I can insert it here into this video. But I would unplug my. It happened whether I was using DisplayPort or HDMI. Either way, it would happen. I would unplug it and then plug it back in. And on most distros, that would solve the problem. But not every distro. And the strange thing is Endeavor uses XFCE as their installation method, and I would have the flashing screen thing, but I would still be able to get a screen. And because it's using XFCE, it must be using X11.
Right.
And
yeah, that confused me too. Yes.
The installer would work.
Right.
But after installing every distro, and we also need to point out that in this time period, 6.1. Even on Endeavor or Bleeding Edge, this was before 6.2 was released.
Right.
So the only way you could get 6.2 is if you manually upgraded to the mainline the mainline release.
You built the kernel from scratch, and I'm laughing because I did it.
Yeah, no, I tried. So one method I thought of, I think the initial thought I had was I'm gonna have to install Arch, and that way I can make sure that I install mainline 6.2. I can make sure that I install Mesa 23 or better, and then I'll know that I have everything I need. I'll install I tried Cinnamon first. I'll install Cinnamon, and then if I do it that I thought
You're
for
typical.
sure. Yeah, I thought for sure if I do that method it will work. And I couldn't get that to work. I could never get anything to load. I could get Wayland to load, but it would do the screen flashing. My screen would flash,
and you
on
couldn't
and off.
fix that on Wayland.
Right? Yeah. I mean, I could unplug it and plug it. So it was like hit or miss. Like if I unplugged it and plugged it back in, it may stabilize for a while, but eventually it would start doing it again. And in that layout, I actually did install. I installed one of the Half-Life games that was Linux native because I knew it would be easy to run, and I knew it was Linux native, so it was my best. It was my best chance at getting something to work, and that did work. And I got to say, I know it's an older game, but like it looked really good. But if it was running Proton, it was just not gonna. Well, I say it was not gonna happen, but that's not exactly true. A lot of games I could get to load on Proton until the actual in-game environment launched. So Resident Evil Village, I could load the game and I could try to load the world, but as soon as my character would appear, it would crash. It wouldn't work. So I never got a game to actually play on Proton. They did install, they did load. And I tried Arch. I put a list here in the show notes. I tried Arch, Manjaro, Endeavor, Fedora, Rawhide. That was the most recent one I tried, and I didn't actually get to a point where I could try a game. But it wasn't because of... At that point, I was worried that this testing was damaging my monitor because I installed...
Yeah, that can happen, yep.
Because it was rapidly turning it off and on, So I was worried that this was bad, like this testing... And this monitor was... monitor was stupidly expensive. I should have never bought this monitor. I love it, but it was not a reasonable purchase. And
if he didn't buy that monitor, he'd have a 4080 right now.
I would have already got the 4080. Yeah, And so I was worried that I was going to mess something up, and I was going to have to go through their support.
Yeah, no, that's a completely legitimate thing because like I've heard of people screwing their monitors up by running beta stuff.
I mean, if it's physically turning on and off, you know what I mean? That
right.
can't be good for it. So
well, that's what it seems like it's doing. It seems like it's sending the signal to that like when you get no display, active.
Yeah.
That's what it seems like it's doing. It's like kind of like unplugging and plugging it back in 100 times.
Yeah, that's exactly what it felt like. So, so anyway, I gave up on testing Linux after that. I think what I want to do, just for the sake of the show, is hook up my old monitor and see how far I get with that. And I think now that 6.2 is available on basically every distro, I think that I'm going to try Endeavor again, and but try it on that monitor. For one, I don't care if I mess it up, but two, I don't think it'll do the power cycling thing. That seems to be an issue just with my hardware, with this hardware, because on my desk also I have a monitor that's actually a drawing tablet monitor, and it's just HDMI, and I could always use it in all of these scenarios. I still couldn't get X to load, but the error message. So if I tried to launch X from the terminal so that I could see what the output was, it would say that it couldn't find a display. Well, that might be because it's trying to find my main display, and so if I try it with only one display hooked up, maybe that would have worked. I haven't tried it yet, but I don't think it's going to do the power cycling thing because that never happened with this HDMI monitor. And
that's weird.
There's a lot of settings on this. This is an Alienware monitor, and there's a lot of settings on this that that are set by the device that's plugged into it. And I'm wondering if there's some setting in that calibration that the ARC can't send the right signal, and that's why it's having this trouble. I'm wondering if it has something to do with HDR, because I also know that there's no HDR support right now. So,
did you actually try turning that off?
I can't see. That's the thing. I can't turn it off in the monitor. It's based on the signal it receives from the device. So if I turn it off in Windows, it turns I could turn it off and on in Windows, and it sends the correct message to the monitor. I don't know exactly how that works, but
yeah, I'm not sure either. But yeah, I know what you mean. That's interesting. That's slightly annoying.
So I'm going to continue testing. We really tried like that week that we both got ours. We put off doing the show that week because we were like, I want to get this working before the next episode. Like, we really wanted to come to some conclusion and talk about it.
I really tried literally everything that I could.
And I'm confident that it will work. There's a guy on YouTube that I was watching some videos just before the show. His channel's called the Linux Cave, I think. He has ARC, I think he's got the 770 working, and he's showing all kinds of game footage where he's playing The Witcher and
well, that's the thing. That's the thing. For me, if I get rid of this monitor over here, it works fine on my main monitor. I can play Witcher. I can play Elder Scrolls Online. That all works.
Yeah.
I don't have any issue. My issue right now is the second monitor is not recognized. It says unrecognized. I guess that's what it says. I'm pretty sure. And then it's stuck to 640 by 480, and it's just this little box. And if you try to change the resolution, which it only gives you 3 resolutions, if you try to change it to a higher resolution, it just goes blank.
Yeah, it's out of range.
So, and I got on the Intel Insiders Discord, and I was asking around, and they told me to go do a bug report. So I tried to do the bug report, and then I got told to do more like in-depth testing
for them.
Yeah, they gave me like this thing I got to install, and I got to enable this kernel thing, and I'm like, I didn't even get to that yet because it's a lot.
Man, yeah. So,
but like I want to so that they can fix this issue.
Yeah, I want it to be. I think that. So I wonder if there's a similar. So have you tried? Can you use either monitor, just never both?
Yes.
Okay, that's unusual. And on Windows, it's fine, right? It's just a Linux bug.
Yeah, Windows, it's totally fine. I'm using them right now. That's the only reason why I'm using Windows right now.
Yeah.
For the podcast is because I need the two monitors. I can't just
Yeah.
have everything on the one.
Yeah, me too. So like, I already mentioned I was on Windows, but like that monitor, none of those issues exist on Windows. It is just working.
Yeah. The
And
only issue, sorry.
well, I was just gonna say I have tested games on Windows. I've played basically all the games that I was playing
Right.
before the Switch, and everything works really good. Everything works better than they ever have for me. I've had the best video card experience I've ever had right now. It's just, and I'm not playing, Resident Evil Village is probably the newest game. Well, Wrath of the Righteous, Pathfinder Wrath of the Righteous. The rest of the games I play are like, Final Fantasy 14, Elder Scrolls Online, games like that. And all that stuff runs great. By the way, Elder Scrolls Online, my FPS was, I don't even know what it was, and I don't want to misquote, but it was like way better than what I was quoting last time we did a test. And my
I think their in-game counter only goes up to 100, and mine was maxed to 100 the entire time.
Yeah, I was going to say 160, but I think you're right. I think it's capped at 100. But I was having trouble with, like, even whenever I had high FPS, I was having trouble with load ins and stuff like that. Everything is working perfectly. Like, that was 100%. My graphics card was pegged out to 100% all the time. So I know, and here's another thing too, is I'm confident that this will work on Linux. I'm confident that it will. There will come in the next few weeks probably where I can just install a distro and move. But it's just we're so early in the process.
Yeah.
But things are changing so much faster now than they used to that I'm confident that it will, we will get there.
Oh yeah. This driver on Windows was not usable like 6 months ago.
Yeah.
Or whatever, however long it's been, when it first came out. It was not usable. And now, the only issue I've had at all, and this is very, very minor, is I was playing Baldur's Gate, and there is this, like, every 20 seconds, like, just a freeze, and then it'll come back. It's like a split-second freeze.
Yeah.
That's the only issue I've had at all with this thing so far.
And you're playing Baldur's Gate 1, you said, in Discord, right? That was one of the things that Intel pointed out about these cards is that they're actually not they're not optimized for older games like that. So
they should you're right, and I thought that this newest driver was going to fix that because they upped the performance of DX9 games. But I don't even know. I don't even know if Baldur's Gate is a DX9 game.
It's a really old game. I don't know. Yeah.
It might be like a DX, not even a DX game. It might be. Oh no, you know what? Now that I think about it, when you go into the settings, I think it's OpenGL.
Oh, is it running OpenGL? Yeah,
I'm pretty sure that's what it is because I remember in the settings it mentioned something about OpenGL, and I bet you that's it. I wonder how the performance or the support for that is.
I was actually considering playing Baldur's Gate 3, so I could try that and report back. I mean, I have it and I've played it several times, but it's still so in development that, like, if you don't keep up with it, then they do updates, and they usually give you steps on how you can transfer your character to the new update.
Oh.
But I let it lapse so long that, like, I can't get my
your
character's
back.
Done.
Yeah. Your character's in the old style.
I've already started over twice, and I don't want to start over a third time. But I might try it just to see how it performs on the new card.
See, I should be the one with that because I constantly restart my games. Like we were just talking. I was playing through crap, what was that game we're talking about? Oh, Divinity Original Sin.
Yeah.
Like 2 years ago. I played for like 6 months straight. I got like halfway through the game or whatever you want to call it. And freaking now I log on and I'm like, what was I doing? Where am I?
So Baldur's Gate would be a good test for me too, because that was a game that what my old graphics card struggled with. It could do it, but I never changed the graphics settings. It just whatever it
was. Yeah.
And it was like I could hear the card making like a whining noise as
Crying.
I'm playing the game. Yeah. Like,
please shut this off.
So I'll have to try it now that I've got this new Intel card. and see how it is. But yeah, I'm good. I haven't given up on the Linux installation.
No, definitely not. Yeah, so I've been running Fedora Rawhide for probably a week now or two, and that literally, I'm pretty sure they just go to the mainline kernel, like whatever's the newest RC, and just that's the kernel they use. Because I'm on 6.3 right now.
Oh,
6.3 RC0.
Wow.
Yeah.
Okay. Yes.
Yeah.
They do. They just go straight to the release candidate.
Mesa, I don't think it was at the highest, but it was 23 at the least.
Mesa 37.
Mesa 37, not even real.
Hasn't even been conceived of yet.
but no, seriously. So like if anyone knows when my problem gets fixed, it will be me, because that is like the newest. I haven't had a distro that was that new ever. Like even Arch, it would be hard to actually get Arch to be that
you'd have to use the extra repositories.
Yeah.
So I think what I'm gonna do is I kind of like I don't know. I'm torn between trying Endeavor again because it's just easy to install, or going back to, which, by the way, I installed Arch through this new method, which I never knew about. There's like an installation.
The installer.
Yeah, there's like an installer script on the thumb drive that you can run, and it walks you through the installation process. Like, it was so nice.
Is it like pretty in depth, or is it just like basic? Like,
no, it's in depth. It's all the same decisions you would make doing an Arch install, only it guides you through it. It's not guided. It has like a list of like 13 different options, and if you go through each option, you'll set your language, you'll set your partitions, you'll go through everything.
That's pretty cool.
Yeah, it's actually really cool. I think I'm gonna update our Arch installation video using this method, because it's way easier. It kind of takes the fun out of it, honestly. But I think I might go that route again, because then at least I can kind of do it at my pace, where I can say, okay, first things first, let's make sure we got 6.2, which at this time I should by default. I shouldn't have to. When I tried before, I was having to manually do that. This time that should be the default. So
it should be, by now.
Yeah, so I'll make sure that's true. I'll install all the Intel Mesa stuff, which I also kind of struggled with, because, coming from the NVIDIA installation process, there's a few extra steps besides just installing it. And all I could find on Intel was just install Mesa, and that should be all you need to do. I don't really know. I feel like that's not enough, but I'll do that. Make sure it's on 23 or better.
Well, between the Mesa driver or the Mesa, I'm not sure. I don't even think that's a driver. I don't know exactly. It's some sort of, I don't know. I'm not 100% sure what it is. But between that and the kernel driver, I know that's a driver.
Yeah.
That's what, between those two things, that's what conjoins them. Yeah.
Yeah. So I think I'm gonna try it again on another. So another thing is I only have a 250 gig SSD that I'm using to do my test installation.
My test installation is a 128 gig USB.
Wow.
Or
I got
USB.
Nothing to complain about then.
Yeah, it's a USB. Like, I'm hanging off the side of my case.
What am I complaining about? All right. So anyway, I'm going to continue testing. I wish we had more definitive results this week, but we'll keep testing, and we'll keep updating these podcasts. So if you're interested in getting an ARC A770, but you don't want to run Windows and you don't want to be a guinea pig for all of these tests, then stay tuned to the show, because in the next coming episodes, we will, hopefully we'll come to some conclusion, and we'll be running.
Yeah.
We'll be running like never before. But I suspect it's going to be a few episodes.
Yeah, I'm definitely going to try to do that bug report. I don't know. I just kind of was like, as soon as he got back to me, I'm not sure who it was, he or she, but when they got back to me, I was like, because I was like, this is not going to be as easy as I thought it would be.
I kind of get it. Like, on the one hand,
no, I get it. I understand why they're saying it. It's just I'm like, ugh.
I think it's an interesting conversation to be had, though. Is on the one hand, you want users to be able to send bug reports easily and frequently,
right?
That way, they will actually
on Windows is easy.
Yeah.
Because you just go through the ARC control.
Yeah. Oh.
And literally, you just send the data from that, and it's done. But on Linux, no, you got to go to the website. You got to make the bug report. You got to write the run the application to get the information.
They expect you to be smarter, man. They expect the Linux
Yeah,
users
I
to be
know,
smarter.
and I can do it. It's just the time, man.
But what I was gonna say is, like, on the one hand, you want it to be easy, but on the other hand, you want it to be useful. So, like, they have to find a balance there between the two. But yeah,
so they're just gauging the typical user like of Windows, like should be like, oh yeah, let's press a couple buttons, and the Linux guy's gonna be like, hacker, mashing the keys.
He's gonna know how to do this. Is what they're thinking.
Well, and he got back to me, and like 2 days later, he messaged me again saying, "Hey, do you got that information?" I'm like, "Whoa, dude, wait a minute!
Wow,
we're not being paid to do this, so like, I don't have time for this."
I believe it though, because whenever we talked about the number of reviews of the cards on whatever comparison website we were using in the last episode, and it was like the NVIDIA card had like 100, like hundreds of thousands.
Yeah, right.
But then the Intel card had like less than 500.
Yeah.
And then you got to think, like, of those people, like 2 of them are on Linux. You know what I mean? Like
us.
Yeah. They're doing a podcast.
Only ones. No.
Us and the Linux cave guy. That's the only guys.
I didn't even consider that, but now that you mention it, that's probably why I got like, the treatment I did, the what do you want to call that? The royal treatment.
Tell him to come on the podcast. We need to set up we need to set up an interview with him. Tell him we'll do the bug report if he comes on and explains the problem to us on the show.
I will allow you to fix this issue if you come on our podcast.
All right. Well, anyway, I don't know what else to say about it other than we've been testing. As far as just like a consumer conclusion, if you're a Windows gamer, I don't see why you wouldn't purchase this card unless you just feel like you have to be on the bleeding edge of whatever is the latest and greatest that all the YouTube channels are talking about. If you are a reasonable person with a reasonable budget that plays reasonable games, I can't imagine you're going to struggle with this card on Windows.
Yeah.
I think it's only going to continue to get better.
Especially if you're a 1080p gamer, this is like a beautiful card.
Yeah, I'm playing in UHD, but yeah, there's games that my old card I would have to resize it to a smaller resolution because it would not do it. Everything works fine on this card on UHD. Everything seems to be working fine. Yeah. On Linux, if the games you play are Linux native and they are like you can play it on Wayland, then I would say you probably have a pretty safe bet as long as you have a 1080 monitor. I would be a little worried if you have UHD or higher because you may fall into the same situation I'm in, where my monitor is some weird niche case where the card doesn't like it.
And Linux has always had issues with UHD and 4K. Always. It's just not an easy thing to just get working, I guess. I guess that's what the whole thing is.
Beyond that, we need to do more testing before we can really say any more conclusions on the Linux side.
Yep.
But
I believe it's going to be good. I believe it's going to work eventually. It's just they got to put the time in, and Linux is just not on the forefront.
This is the most. Other than work, this is the most I've ever used. This is the most I've ever gamed on Windows in a while, in quite a while. Yeah. We'll see. We'll see how it goes. Yep. All right. Well, what else do we got to get into before the end of this episode? We'll be back with more ARC updates. Please stay tuned, and we'll see you next week. Thanks for listening. Peace.
See ya.
That's how we end every episode.
I know, right? Hey, you got to keep it on brand, man.